What's that, Skip? Shauno's talking about Supercoach again. Let's go. G'day everybody, it's Shauno again, and I'm back with some more Supercoach content. Today we're going to be doing our round 2 trades and captains video. And so here in this video, I'll go through whether we should be trading or not, who we should be trading, both for my team and for the community in general, and who I believe will be the best captain choices for the upcoming round. So, okay, before we get into it, if you haven't already subscribed, please do that. Do it now. It's been a great, you guys have been awesome. It's been a great preseason. So I really appreciate all your support. And as we get in, as you can see down below here, I do have my round rank and my overall rank. But below that, kind of my schedule of what the videos are going to be for you guys coming up. So, yep, on Monday, we will try and get out our review video. It could come out Sunday night, depending on my work, but at latest on Monday. Same with this video, the trades and captains videos. We'll try and get it out on Tuesday night, but it will be out by Wednesday. And then every Thursday, we'll do a live video, and we'll go week for week. 1 week, it'll be in the afternoon, and the other week, it will be in the evening, just due to my way my work works. So again, subscribe, and then you'll be able to go and check out my videos, and you'll know when they will drop now. And like this video if you like this video, and leave me a comment down below. And don't forget to join my Discord for the live video. We will still be putting your teams up on the screen and going through your teams, as well as discussing everything that has happened in the round before and everything we need to know for the upcoming round. All right, that was a lot to get through, so I think let's get into it. Again, quick, if you want to see my video on my round review, I will leave a link down below. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but we did score 2,330, season rank of 13,154, and I'm quite happy with that. And a quick mention before we move on, these don't take your first score too seriously. It's just your first score. It's a long season. Supercoach is a trading game. You haven't lost everything, in the first score. Even the difference between me and first place is only a couple of 100 points, which is basically it's a good captain score or a couple of good scores by your premium. So don't stress out too much. And in the upcoming weeks, don't stress out too much over the next bye weeks as well, because being the fact that it's best 18, it'll be harder to move up and down. And so I actually expect to drop with having a few players out over the next few rounds. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if my season rank drops over the next few weeks. It's not really until we're going to come out of the buys in round 5 that you're really going to have a good look at your team and where it's at. And that's why we need to really concentrate on what we're doing with the trading at the moment, and make sure we make the right trades. So when we come out of those buys, our team's in a really good position. So we'll do my team first, and then we'll have a chat about the rest of the league. So I think I'm going to call this segment, we're going to have a new segment. We're going to call it You're Fired.
Screw you! You're fired!
Okay, let's get on with it. So we're going to move on, and I got 31k in the bank, and I've gone through all the injury reports. They've just come out. Almost all of them are out, and a few of them I checked the club website. So the big injuries I think I have or were worried about are probably the ones a lot of people have. So I've got Goulden. We know he's out for 4 months, so I'm going to have to make a trade for there. Then the other ones we were worried about, if we go down to the forward line, Philippou and Marshall both had scares. Apparently, Philippou is a test for this week, and apparently Marshall isn't that bad either and is also a test. So, actually, they even said on the Port Adelaide website that he should be available to play. So, that could be good. Philippou as a test, we're not too sure, but if he has to do a week, we'll probably just do that. We'll chuck Marshall on and hope that Marshall plays, and he doesn't, we'll have Lombard as an emergency. So no trading there. If you got either of those guys, hold on to them for another week. It doesn't seem that major. I think both, I mean, obviously with this 90 in Marshall's scoring 3-round average, we want to keep him. If possible, he's going to make us a lot of money. And Philippou, the role still looks good. He'll be a little bit more of a slow burn now, but I think as a bit of a, I think he can still has the capability in his role to pump out some big scores. The other thing I did read on the Sydney website is Heaney, which some of you, my friends out there, might have, is also a test, but with the 5-day turnaround, according to the Sydney website, they said there's a likelihood that he will miss this week. Not a guarantee, but a likelihood that he would, just because of the short turnaround. So keep that in mind if you're Heaney or Goulden owners. With Heaney, it's a hold. You just hold him. He's going to be a gun. He's going to be great. He already is a gun, so you don't do anything. You just hold him. The only one that I can see, really, if you had no issues, if you had no Goulden and your team looked okay, you really probably shouldn't be going and trading this week. There are only a couple of reasons why you should be trading. So let's talk about those reasons. One is that your player is injured, like Errol Goulden. And two is you've got plans for next week and you can't get all the trades you need next week. So say there's a few people on the horizon that we kind of think that we might want. If we look at the old break even here, like Milan Murdoch from Eagles for 99k, dude, came out, smashed 100, looked really good. So if he plays again this week and he's named next week, we're all going to want him. Now, should you go early on him? I mean, on a performance like that, you think his job security is okay, but do remember Minnie McWalter was an absolute terrorist last year when it came to dropping rookies and playing rookie roulette with his rookies. So I would prefer to have a look at him next week. But if you have to get him, because it allows you, because you have plans to get in, do 3 trades next week using the boost. Don't forget you can use the boost during the buys to do a maximum of 3 trades. So I understand that, but I'd prefer, if you don't have someone like a Lockie Jakes, you just get him this week. You want him, he's going up, he's already played 2 games. Same with the Jai Sarong. You don't have him, just get him. The other ones, there's not too many others what I almost think of must-haves. Tanner Bruin, if you like him but you don't have him, you can wait a week to next week. Probably bringing in a player on their buy is not the smartest thing. I'd probably prefer if you brought in one of the guys like the Milan Murdoch. And there is another one that a lot of people will be looking at as well. If you don't have Bellamiers, I mean, he's only played 1 game, but I could kind of understand if you brought him in. Never really want to bring in a player after 1 game because anything could happen. If he gets injured or something like that, you've lost a trade. So that's why I'm saying if you can hold off to next week, hold off to next week. So if we have a quick look down, if you haven't got Sam Gruey, he's only played 1 game, you can wait. Watkins, he could get dropped when Ollie Wines comes back. So, have wait. So they're the ones that I would look at and think that if you don't have, or, you expect, you want them to, the ones you're going up this week, you prioritize. And then if you really need to get Murdoch. Oh, and the other one there is Cook as well, which I didn't see him. Here he is, Braden Cook, mid-forward. At 150k, I'd want to have another look at him, crew. I wouldn't be going him this week. Have a look at him and see what's going on. Also, if you got players like me, yes, we can go back and we can... Hindsight is awesome. We said we were going to go guns and rookies and avoid the mid-prices. Now, if you went mid-price a crazy team this year, you're probably feeling a bit sad and sorry for yourself, just because basically all the mid-prices in the back line failed for the first week. You got Blackiston failed, Windsor failed, McKercher failed. There's a few other, Archie Roberts, I think he was another one that a lot of people liked, failed. So just teaches us once again that it would have been much better to have a rookie here. Not that I could think of a rookie that I've got available there. But then in some ways it wasn't as bad as a lot of the premiums failed too. Jordan Clark failed. Lockie Whitfield, who I had both of those guys in my team in this position at some point in the preseason, both failed. So I would say if you got a Windsor or a Blackiston or a Jordan Clark or a Whitfield, hold. Even a McKercher, even though his role looks terrible, who knows? Maybe one of the backmen gets injured and he goes back there or something. So just hold for this week. And then the players that you probably be aiming for, like one is obviously Houston, who I looked at. I told you guys last week I liked the way he looked, and he came out and looked even better this week. So he's on his bye, so no need to get him this week. Same with the Tanner Bruin in the midfield. You're going to want him, but he's on his bye, so you might as well wait a week. Just basically you want to correct the rookies going up. Any rookies going up money and any injuries. So for me, I got the one glaring injury. We got Goulden. He's out for 4 months. We have to do something. So no point waiting to next week. Might as well do something this week, and then that frees up my 3 trades next week to correct any rookies or get people like the Milan Murdoch and the Cooks of the world after I've seen them play a second game. So I'm in kind of 2 minds, crew. So I'll show you my one mind. One mind is I've got 230k in the bank. I made a mistake, I believe, when I started the team, and I faded Bont. I could just go Bont, just like that. Complete trade, confirm. I still have 90k in the bank to muck around with next week, and I have that midfield, which I believe is the strongest midfield. Plus, it gives me my captain options. Do I think he's going to score 160 every week? No. But I do think he's going to average 125, 130 by the looks of things. So, with the capacity to go that big score, and the difference between me and being very close to like top 100, I would say, was a 100 Zach Butters captain versus a Bontempelli captain. So, you know, those extra 66 points that I would have got would have made a big difference. So not only would have got 66, but being the captain, you know, it makes it even more juicy. So could have been the difference between me being a top 100 team and a 15,000 team, or 13,000, whatever we are at the moment, 13,154. So we can do this. I have 90,000. I still have the McAndrew risky thing going on here. ZZ did okay for his 62. Let's talk about Carroll losing his position. If Carroll was to get dropped this week, I might go early on a Murdoch or a Cook. But I think I'd prefer to go early on a Murdoch just because he's so cheap. At 99k, you're going to want him next week. If Cook comes out and drops a 40 next week and you've got him this week, you're going to be disappointed in the way that he's gone a 90 and a 40. Whereas Murdoch comes out and drops a 40 next week, well, you're not going to be happy, but you're not going to be unhappy either because he's still going to go up a lot. So that's what I'm thinking, but there is one other option. So if we were to undo that, go up here and confirm. There, the other option would be to do something, make my ruck situation a little bit safer. So we could trade out Goulden, we could move Tanner Braun up, and then I could get a ruck in. I can't actually, I need to go down. Sorry, guys, because I can't actually see them. Okay, and so now we can look at all the rucks. There we go. Do we go for the points of Luke Jackson? I liked his role. I like the fact they only sat Sean Darcy on the bench basically half the time for 50% of the match, and he just came in and took some ruck contests when basically Jackson was tired, and then Jackson was everywhere besides that. So I do like that. I get a feeling Darcy might even be dropped this week for Cox, it didn't look good. Why would you, at least you could prop Cox up forward. He might kick you a goal. Maybe they think they have too many tall forwards. I'm not too sure what the reasoning was there, but if they didn't have a lumbering ruckman, maybe they had another midfielder or something, or a more mobile big man. Maybe they could have won that game and run it out, even with the massive advantage that Geelong had from the round 0 warm-up match. Had a nice warm-up match before they had a real match. But yes, so we could potentially do that as well. And then the only problem is if we do this, the ruck situation looks a lot better. The midfield looks fine when we, it looks fine. I'm not too worried with, I wouldn't be trading Hayden Young. He looked really good. He had a leg soreness when going into the game, so he was rested that last quarter up the forward line, and I don't think they'll be doing that again, especially if the game is on the line. He is a game winner, so I don't really even know why they didn't at least chuck him in there for a little bit. He must have still been a little bit sore, and they just wanted to manage him. So I assume he's going to be fine. Everybody else did what they were supposed to do on my team. Selwood's going to make money even though he got a 38. So I don't know. Please let me know in the comments down below, crew, which version do you like for my team better, the Jackson version or the Bontempelli version? For now, I think I'm leaning towards the Bontempelli, because if I don't get him now, I don't know when I can get him. And we've only seen one look at Jackson, so if Jackson comes out and drops a 40 next week, and I've got him in because he got a 142, I think, I'd be a bit disappointed. So I really want to get a good look at the rucks. I think it kind of showed this week. All the rucks are still scoring well. They're just not having the huge scores that they were used to. That we saw in past years. So 142 was the best, I believe, out of all the rucks, and he was running around like a madman, and he was everywhere, Jackson. So I'm not too sure. The jury's out still on the rucks, I think. I think overall the score will be down a little bit, but they're still going to score just as good as a decent midfielder. So 600k for like 142, or 600k for 127, you'll probably take that every week. Even the 142, of course you would, but 127 for 600k, I'll take that every week. So jury is out, but I think that from what I've seen so far, that's what I think looks like is happening. They're still scoring well, still going to have two good rucks. They're just maybe not going to get the monster 200 scores that often, or even these 140 scores that often. But I could be proven wrong. So anyway, what about you guys out there in the community? Well, you might also have other issues. But so people we can look at if we go into player research. We talked about the rookies. What about if you want a primo? So as we said with the rookies, prioritize the ones going up this week. And that should be your priorities anyway. You need to get the proper rookies in. Rookies dictate structure. You will always hear when people talk about Supercoach. That's where you make the money. It's a trading and a money game. That's where you win. If you don't have Lockie Jakes, you have to get him. If you don't have Jager Smith, you have to get him. Devon Robin has only played one game, so you don't have to get him this round, but you're going to want him next round. Connor Borderick I know some people are a bit disappointed with the 70, but that's kind of what I expected. He only needs to get that after the 100 in his system. If he can go at 75 to 95, he's going to make some good money. So if you're thinking if your forward line needs a bit of help, you've got an issue there. Maybe your mid-price didn't work out for you, or something along those lines. Connor Broderick is definitely an option. Like I say, also Braden Cook looks good, but I'd be waiting on him one more week. Josh Lindsay, same, can wait a week. Some of these others don't get sucked into like the Ned Reeves. He was up against Blackiston and they were bullying on him. So you want to see this game again before choosing this. All right, let's not go by break even. The projected score. Or the last. Let's go on this one. So if you haven't got Bont, I think if you've got the money like I have, it's definitely reasonable to go to Bont. I don't love it because he has the bye the week after. He won't potentially go up too much money. He's got a break even 127. So worst case scenario, he scores 160 again and goes up 15k. That would be the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, he gets like 105 or 110 and he goes down by about 10k. So you could get him. He's probably not going to go up a huge amount and he's probably not going to go down a huge amount, you would think. So anyone hoping that he was going to go down a lot, he's going to have to drop a very low score, below 100 score to make it worth your while if you're waiting for him to go down. Petrarca, if you haven't got him, get him in your team. Caleb Sarong, I know he scored 150 and this looks awesome and he doesn't have a bye. I'm still a little bit worried about the Freo midfield and what they're doing there. If you go and look at the stats, Caleb Sarong scored all his points in the last quarter. Where was Hayden Young in the last quarter? He was sitting up in the forward line. I'll show you the exact stats, which just think about this pick before you jump into it. So Caleb Sarong, so he scored 16 in the first quarter, 24 in the second quarter, and 30. So what's that? 54, 60. He was on 70 points at 3/4 time. And then he scored 80 in the fourth quarter when Hayden Young didn't go near the middle. So this is the one thing I worry about Fremantle and Jackson. Before I saw that Jackson was going to play, do most of the rucking. Yeah, Freo, there's so many mouths to feed there. I'm not too sure. And, Brayshaw had a bad day. Maybe Brayshaw gets the 150 next week and Sarong gets the 60. Maybe Hayden Young gets the 60. I'm not too sure. I just think that there's a lot of uncertainty in what's going on in the Freo midfield, and I'm not too sure that I'm going to pick Sarong. I was thinking about it pre-season, and then once I saw what Freo were doing in the midfield, I got chicken. And, of course, it cost me this big score, but I still don't know if I can go there. If you've got him, great. And if you want to take a risk, well, you see he can go big. But I think that last quarter really shows that he could have a quiet game too here occasionally. At 70 at 3/4 time, that easily could have been a 90 or just 100 game as well. Wayne Malera, he's a guy I picked up in a lot of my draft teams, which I was very happy with. He's taking most of the kickouts and looks really good. The only question is when Adelaide get all their backs back, what happens? And I don't know if I'd want to get in a 429 player, knowing that I would have to upgrade him again in 5 or 6 weeks time when Adelaide gets its back, guys, when their backs return. But at 429, I think he's very good value, and I think he'll be a nice point of difference, owned by 1.4% of teams. If you wanted to go there, if you just wanted someone say, I don't know, say whoever you had there failed, I wouldn't be doing it. So next week, maybe, say if he does this again next week and you've got a McKercher, or you've got a Blackiston like I do, or you've got a Windsor and he doesn't perform, then maybe I would think about it, but I wouldn't be doing it this week. So Holmes looks really, really good, but he's on his bye this week, so probably not an option if you're replacing a Goulden like me or somebody else. You have something you have to do. Zach Merritt looked really good. Is he going to do this every game? We're not too sure, but he also doesn't have a early bye, so I wouldn't begrudge anybody who picked Zach Merritt. I think he's a reasonable pick. Don't pick Jaden Short. I know he's had a good game, but please don't do it to yourself. Noah Anderson still got his bye to come as well, but is doing very well. So definitely a Goulden. If you can't afford to get up to a Bont like me and you've got Goulden, someone like a Noah Anderson, he's a little bit more expensive. Zach Merritt is not too much more up. Yet your Caleb Sarongs is pretty much very, very close to being the same amount of money. So they're the guys you're probably looking at. I think they're all good picks. I think they're good. but are they top 8 to 10 midfielders? I'm not too sure. But if you have to go one, I couldn't even say. If you had to go one, whether it be Sarong or Zach Merritt, maybe throw LDU in there as well. Got 100. It's probably a little bit further down, is he? Quite a bit further down, probably. Maybe if we just go mids. LDU got 104. So you probably want a little bit more, but he's cheaper if you need to go down, if you haven't got the money. So I think they're probably your best options. Finn Callahan, he looks really good. The Noah Anderson, if you've got a bit of money to go up, I'd certainly be considering, and you don't mind as much about the buys. The Finn Callahan and the Noah Andersons of the world seem really good, and I would 100% be telling you to get Max Holmes if he didn't have his buy this week. I think he took the most. If we look, we got it up here. I think he had the most CBAs and he took 3 kick-ins. The man ran from one side of the field to the other. He's from the CBAs to the kick. I mean, that's amazing. Any time I see the guy who's getting the most CBAs taking kick-ins as well, that's something that gets my attention. So I would be thinking about, if I wasn't going Bont, I would be seriously thinking about doing it that way. I'm not too sure if there's anybody in the forward line like we talked about. If you haven't got Petrarca, get Petrarca. Buderick is still an option. If you haven't got Sheasel, get Sheasel. The rest I think you can wait and see on. There's nobody desperately there that I would want in my team. Don't get fooled by Dylan Moore's 100 there. Flanders will be fine. Connor McDonald, I mean, I still think the jury is out, but he's had 2 reasonable scores. So if you wanted to go there to make, I don't know if you've got an injury or a correctional trade that you need to do, I guess you can go there. I'd prefer to have, he will go up in money this week. So he's one that if you're going to do it, I guess if you really want him and you're going to get him anyway next week, you might as well get him this week. Sam Darcy's played 2. Got a massive break even. He'll come down for us. What about in the back line? If you got ants in your pants and you can't wait until, did that probably didn't help for you guys very much, did it? Move it in a bit. There you go. Sorry guys if you couldn't see that. For defenders, Wayne Malera, like I said, give him another week. Lockie Ash looks good. If you wanted to go up to a premium, you could go to him. His mate Fonte as well from his club also look good. Dan Houston seems like he's a bit of a bargain and also looks good. I know that Geelong have players in the back line coming back, but still the coach has said that he wants it in his hands, and I feel like next week I'm going to be trying to get Dan Houston in, and I've got the money to do it by going down to a 99k Milan Murdoch. Hopefully there's no other injuries to my team or anything more important, but I should be able to get my Blackiston, if he doesn't have a good game, up to Houston with a purchase of a 99 rookie. But that's going to be next week. Like I said, I'm only going to get Milan Murdoch this week if Carroll isn't named. So I'm not seeing Sicily. Maybe, he's had a couple of good games now. So maybe if you were thinking James Sicily at 480, you'd want him to be a keeper. So if he's someone who was on your mind and you needed someone, I think Connor Rose is going to be fine. Zorko's got a buy, so there's no need to do anything with him. Callum Mills is kind of interesting. They sort of said with this week he'll definitely play more midfield, you would think. But when they have just Heaney and no Goulden, is he going to be in and under midfielder? And we know what he can score. It was only a few years back that he scored a 200 in that role. So he likes this role and he scores well, but as a full-time inside midfielder, it could be interesting. Could be something to keep a watch on. All right, Nasaya, obviously if you got Nasaya, he's going to drop a lot of money, but I don't know if you can trade him. If you're desperate to get rid of him, jump on one of those other guys that's played, a couple of games and maybe go there. But I think if it was me, I'd just be holding him and hoping that he gets better, that he gets more points. That it's going to be a bit rough seeing the money go down, but when he does kick off and get a 150-point game, you'll have him, and not a lot of other people will. How many people have got him now? So dropping 2,000 people have dropped him 1.2%. So he's down to 28% totally owned, so total owned. And for rucks, I think, like we said, I wouldn't really be going for any of the rucks this round, unless you're like me and you're winging it for a Goulden. You're working things around to get a Goulden in. Like Luke Jackson. Jared Witt's had a good game, but he's not usually a huge scorer, so I think I'd avoid it for the moment. Sherry had a good game. He's probably going to have another good game this week. He's got the Eagles, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is his biggest score of the year. So he might, I don't know if it's still, I think the jury is still out who's going to be the top ruckman, but I would not be surprised if I doubt Witts is in there, but out of Jackson, Sherry, English, Gawn, and Grundy didn't have the best game. But I still think he's a shoo-in of being there. And Tom De Koning, be a little bit wary if you think about getting Tom De Koning in. Don't forget that Todd Marshall was out with concussion last week, and he will be coming back, you would think anyway. So his score could be affected by that. He's done okay with Todd Marshall in the team, but it just takes that little bit of chance of getting extra points. Darcy Cameron, again, I think if you got him, it's fine. Stick with him. He's got a bye this week. Those guys are going to be the best rucks, and we're all going to want two of them by the end of the season. But if you don't need one right now, and you're not doing what I consider doing with my Jackson pick, then you probably don't want to grab one this round. All right, crew. So I think that's enough about trades. If I missed anyone you're thinking about, put them down in the comments down below, or join me on the live video on Thursday where we will talk about all the potential movers and shakers for your team, and who you should be getting in and who you should be dropping, and what not only I think, but what some very knowledgeable people in the community think. So that's a great way to go into that in a lot more detail, and we should see some teams by that time too. So that's on Thursday, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, or the afternoon or the evening. And so make sure you join me for that, and we can talk more about trades then. Oh, captain, my captain.
Captain, my captain.
Sit down, Mr. Anderson.
All right, so in the my captain segment, we're going to talk about captains for the week. So again, as usual, we will do my team first, and in my team, so I think I'll just undo the changes, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go Goulden straight to Bont. Just lick my wounds and apologise to Bont for dropping him out of my team. On Discord, I made a little prayer symbol and said I was sorry, and I'm very, very sorry, Bont, that I dropped you out of my team, and he went and punished me for it. So we'll stick the vice captain on Bont as he plays on Friday night, and then I think you've got some really good options out there in the community. Saturday you got Anderson and Petrarca. Anderson was cleared of his HIA, the concussion. But if you get a hard knock to the head, I don't always love picking them the next week. Sometimes they can be a bit slow or not so good, but I still think he'll be good. He would have got a lot bigger score if he wasn't taken out by the idiots at the Eagles. Even as an Eagles supporter, I was not happy with them. Looking at you, Harley Reid. But so we can make him a captain. I also think Petrarca is just killing it. The thing is he always going to score that many goals? He's playing Richmond this week. He could go huge. So I think Anderson in the long run will be more consistent, but Petrarca could have these massive games where he gets lots of goals. So I also think Sheasel is a good captain choice. I think he is playing West Coast. He should cut us up, just like Petrarca and Anderson did. So I think that he is also a very good choice. And Zach Butters, I know he didn't have a great week this week, but playing Essendon, I think he could have a very good week as well. So they would be my top guys if you if you're out there and if looking for a captain. I think they'd be the top guys according to me. If I've missed anyone that you're thinking of, leave them down in the comments and we will try and all come along to the Thursday live video and we'll have a chat about them. But I'm pretty sure most people are going to have those players. And if we set up my team, how is my team going to look? And like I said, crew, don't get too down about your opening round score, and then don't get too down about these scores in the buys, because it's best 18. They're going to be low. It's going to be tight. So when you come out of the buys, you could potentially still only be a few 100 points behind the top players. The difference between first place and 50,000th place might only be a couple of 100 points, 200 to 400 points, something. That's a couple of good rounds, a good captain score, anything can happen. So I don't get too down. Just get through these buys. Do the best you can. Don't break your teams. Don't trade a million trades this week unless you really have to. All right, crew. I think that is probably it. Don't think we've got anything more to discuss. Like I said, come and join us for the Thursday video, and we can talk about all the trade and all the captain news more in lots more detail. Don't forget to subscribe. Do that now for me. Like the video if you like the video, and leave me a comment down below. All right, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you all again very soon.